Whether you're picking and grinning or just grinning, grab a drink, pull up a seat. It's time for Roots Music Rambler. Turn it up. Here's the bad part of Bourbon and Beyond.
Uh-oh, we're starting out with the bad news.
My feet hurt like motherfuckers. I've never had a blister as big as the one on my left foot until I had a blister as big as the one on my right foot. And because of my favoriting my right foot a little bit, my right calf is made of concrete at the moment and hurts. And so 3 out of the 4, I didn't even go to all 4 days. I went to 3 out of the 4 days of Bourbon and Beyond, and I was there all day Thursday, and the left foot blister had started. But it was like, It was in the middle of my foot. It was kind of deep, and it's under the thick skin. So I'm like, well, I'm not worried about it, rupturing or anything like that. I'm just it'll be fine. I'll be all right. I iced it and all that kind of stuff. Saturday, I went, and the big one on the right foot developed. And I also had another small one on my toe. I know this is gross, and we shouldn't be talking about this on the podcast, but I just got to tell you all this.
No, it's real, though.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for people our age, we're getting to that point. 4-day music festivals aren't really,
it's true.
Unless you're doing the VIP thing.
It's true. So, so Saturday, I overdid it. I've got to stop stuttering. First of all, I'll edit that shit out. I actually walked over 17,000 steps Thursday and Saturday, and my average is like 17 steps a day. Like I don't do that. So there's a lot of reasons why I wound up with sore feet and blisters and sore calves and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, on Sunday, I went to Bourbon and Beyond with my daughter, Katie, and everything was fine. I was sore, but I was like, I'm going to soldier through, got to do this. And on our way into the park, the big right foot blister decided to do its thing. And so I went to the first aid station, hat tip to my buddy, Mark Murdoch, who is the co-host of the Rock and Roll Story Guys podcast, by the way, which I highly recommend.
Okay.
He and Brian Eichenberger host that. And they just tell stories about rock and roll bands and stuff that they've heard or they know. It's really fun. Good show. Anyway, Mark Murdoch hounded me for at least an hour. You need to go to first aid. Dude, if you got to go to first, you should really go to first aid. And Mark's one of these guys who he's not going to let go. And so I just knew it's worse than having a nagging wife when he's around. Because if he starts nagging on you, you're toast. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll go. So I went to first aid. They took a look at it, and they said, you know what? We'll just put some gauze on it. You're going to be fine. It's big, but it's not like, it doesn't look like
you're going to live.
You're going to be fine. So they wrapped it up. I felt better. It's fine. But now I'm on, we're recording this the Tuesday after. And the biggest thing now for me is my calf. My calf feels like someone ripped it out of my leg and wrung it out and didn't unring it and put it back in. So so it's been cramping all day. But anyway.
What kind of shoes were you wearing?
I wear these Skechers shoes. They're slip-ons, and I have a wide foot, and I also have all sorts of medical issues with my feet from injuries from long ago that make my toes all weird and stuff. So, which we're not getting into conversations about my feet. But they're comfortable. They're padded. I wear them in the house. My daughter thinks wearing shoes inside is weird. I wear shoes inside because I can't walk on flat floors without my feet hurting. So I have to wear these shoes. So I wear these Skechers. I've got like 3 or 4 different pairs of them. I reorder a pair every year or something to keep a new fresh one in rotation. They've always done me well. But because they're wide and there's extra room in there for my feet, I tend to slide around if I'm walking a lot. And when you slide around in a shoe, that's where the blisters come from. So.
Yeah.
But the show, besides my personal, what do you call it, podiatrist issues,
There you go.
Or pediography. I don't know what it is.
Podiatric.
Yeah, podiatric issues. I think that's right, actually. Podiatric. Despite my podiatric issues,
if not, we just made up a word.
The Bourbon and Beyond was absolutely fabulous. I mean, it was just it was a very interesting variety of acts. It was everything from Foreigner to the Wonder Women of Country, which were awesome, to Noah Kahan, to Megan Maroney, to Ringo Starr and his all-star band that was great. Included Steve Lukather from Toto and the guy Colin from Men at Work.
Colin Hay?
Yeah, Colin Hay from Men at Work is in the band.
No way!
Yeah, I heard Land Down Under. I heard Rosanna. I heard Yellow Submarine. I mean, Ringo's all-star band is literally that's an all-star band, and they play all the hits of all the people in the band. It was great.
I didn't know Colin Hay was a part of that. We love Colin Hay here. We have his solo stuff.
Well, it was great. And the one criticism, and this was actually brought to my attention by a person who I was just sitting and chatting with. I think her name is Mary Ann. I'm not great at remembering names. I remember her face, and I gave her my card, so she's going to email me. I think her name is Mary Ann. Or maybe Mary Beth. Anyway, it was a Mary hyphenated something. She pointed out to me, and when she said this, I thought about it for a second. I was like, oh my God, you're right. The only criticism that I heard of the whole thing was, and this sucks because it's in Louisville, Kentucky, and it reflects poorly on us and me, I think, in a way. It was very, very, very Caucasian. There was not a lot of diversity in the acts. Miles Smith was one notable, and I believe he's British, but he is black. And so there were some members of some bands, obviously, that were people of color, but it was very lacking in diversity of the artists, which, they had a stage that was mostly bluegrass, and they had a day that was a lot of kind of country Americana stuff, which tends to lean a little bit more white than rock and other genres. But the more I thought about it and the more I looked at it, I'm like, you know what? She's right. This was not a very diverse Ross offering of acts. And so if I had one criticism, it certainly would be that. Okay. But it took someone pointing it out to me for me to notice, which I'm a little ashamed of. Yeah. But yeah, that would be the only criticism of it. And I think it could use more representation, certainly. But man, it was a good time. It really was a good time.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to know that you're going to live, that your feet blisters aren't, like spreading or whatever, and that you still had a good time. And I get what you mean about the lineup not being diverse. Yeah.
I think that's a problem with a lot of festivals, particularly the ones that lean into the country and the alt country. And bluegrass and whatnot, those genres. I think they could use a little bit more representation, and so maybe we can, poke some people about that as we talk to them over the course of the next few months or whatever. And so I apologize to everyone listening and watching. I do not, under any circumstances, in fact, I'm thoroughly offended when people post feet pictures during the springtime and, it's almost beach season. Look at my feet by the pool. Feet are ugly no matter what. I don't care. Put something on those damn things. We don't need to see your feet pictures. And I shouldn't be talking about my feet on a podcast. Thank God I would never show you my feet. That's just wrong. So, but I apologize ahead of time at any rate. Welcome to Roots Music Rambler. She's Frank.
And he's Falls.
And we're rambling on through the stories behind the music we love and my feet.
And Jason's feet. All right, but we're going to swerve now because today on the show, we're talking with some dear friends and one of my favorite local Chicago bands. That would be Sparkle Carcass. So it's an exciting time for the band. Their new album, Maraschino Chevy, is set to be released on October 17th. And it is the band's second record and the first since 2023.
So from the first time you mentioned Sparkle Carcass, which was more than a year ago, I'm sure, I haven't found a better band name. It's certainly the most interesting one in all of music. Sparkle Carcass is made up of frontman and chief songwriter Cody Palmer, Reilly Downes, who is also a fantastic singer and songwriter in her own right, and also Cody's wife, Aaron Vincel on drums, and Justin Frederick. And Frank, how many times have you seen these guys, Frank?
Oh, I don't know. I'm in the double digits, I think.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, we try to go see them whenever they play, so it's up there.
Very good.
It's up there. Yeah. And it's always a great time too. I mean, they live up to their description of Chicago dive bar country band. It's impossible to be at a Sparkle Carcass show and not feel like throwing back a few cold ones and dancing your ass off. And I may have done both. Maybe at the same time.
I think you've reported that you've done that at Sparkle Carcass shows a few times. So, and they do describe themselves as a Chicago band, but they play all over. In fact, the first time I listened to them, really like spent some time with them, I could have sworn I was listening to like a honky-tonk band from Austin, Texas. Like they don't sound like what I would say a Chicago band sounds like, although that's a really weird way to describe a band and their sound, because Chicago has such a diverse, music set up there. But where I know they're sitting out on a new fall tour to support this album. Where are they going?
They do have some stops lined up in advance of the new record, and I know there's some in Texas and Kansas, so I'm sure Cody will tell us all about it. And another thing that I wanted to say about Sparkle Carcass is they definitely give off some like Silverado vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're familiar with Silverado, I think you will like Sparkle Carcass.
Yeah, and for you old school folks, that would be Mike and the Moon Pies.
Mike and the Moon Pies.
We will also, in addition to talking to Cody and talking about Sparkle Carcass, we'll have our normal pick and the grinning segment at the end where we recommend great music to you.
And I feel like I should go get a cold one myself right now. And I know you probably need a refill by now, too. Yeah,
and I'm stuttering and stumbling my way through this. I think I'm just embarrassed about my feet, so I should probably just go have a drink and relax before we get Cody.
All right.
Yeah, keeping up the persona of Mr. Predictability. So stay tuned. When we come back, we'll talk to Sparkle Carcass. Do they actually sparkle? Are they actually carcasses? We'll get to the bottom of this, because this, goddammit, is Roots Music Rambler.
I would rather be sipping on a cool honey, having me some good fun, soaking up the Texas sun, living in bars while the women fast cars, don't care if nothing ever gets done. I would rather be sipping on a cool honey, having me some good fun, soaking up the Texas sun, living in bars while the women fast cars, don't care if nothing ever gets done. I live in my home and my southern life, dreaming of city lights, but I can't find a woman like a two-stepping darling in Driscoll on Saturday night. Ain't nothing at all like I thought it would be, never been so down in my life. Wanna home the blues and leaving tracks in my shoes, heading back towards Texas tonight. And I would rather be sitting on a cool honey, giving me some good fun, soaking up the Texas sun.
Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. That's the latest single from Sparkle Carcass called Sippin' on a Cool One. It's from their soon-to-be-released second album, Maraschino Chevy. Cody Palmer from the band is with us tonight on Roots Music Rambler. And Cody, I've heard a lot about y'all over the course of the last couple of years from Francesca. I'm real excited to talk with you tonight. Cody, how are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Good.
It's good to be here, and thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you, man. Before we dig into what I'm not ashamed to admit is a dumb but obvious question, I want to know more about the single "Sippin' on a Cool One." That's a cover tune, right?
Yeah, it's a funny one. So there's this guy here in Chicago, Lawrence Peters. He's a good buddy of mine, excellent bartender. He's also a great singer-songwriter, and he's a DJ. And he runs this Country Music My Way on Lumpin' Radio here in Chicago. And I used to work in shipping. This is probably 8 years ago.
Okay.
And I was listening to his radio show, and he played this song. He always plays so much good stuff. And I listened to it every week. and he played this song, and it was only 2 minutes long, and I was like, man, this is incredible. And so he posted up the radio show on a streaming site. I think it was Mixcloud or something. And on that site, because of the copyright stuff, they only let you listen to the stream like twice, I think, a week.
Oh.
So I streamed it, and I was like, I found it. This is so good. And I knew I only had one more left. So I just put my phone up to it, and I recorded it onto my phone. And I was trying to find the song later, because we could talk about this later too, but I've been a DJ for a really long time, and I was going to try to find that record. And I was looking all over the place for it. It wasn't on Discogs. I couldn't find anything about it when I was searching for it. I checked all the 45 forums I knew of, and I just could not find this song. And I went and I saw Lawrence at he works at this bar called Hideout here in Chicago. And I was saying, hey man, you got to give me that 45 so I can, I'll either buy it from you or just give it to me so I can rip a copy of it so I have the song. And he's like, man, I can't find it.
Oh no.
So I was like, well, okay. So I was like, we're gonna play this song. We got to play this song. And so I taught it to the band after I figured out how to play it and everything. And the lyrics on this single are my best guess at what they actually say in the song. Because again, there's no record of this song anywhere.
Right.
I just know, all I know is what Lawrence read off of the record when he played it on the show.
Okay.
And I'm if I remember correctly, he said it was 1977.
Okay.
And I remember him distinctly saying there wasn't a lot of great country music necessarily in 1977, but this record was good.
Okay.
And it's this band called Rollin' Country.
All right.
So if anybody knows Rollin' Country, it seems to me like maybe East Texas, maybe Central Texas.
Yeah.
And I can only assume what the narrative in my mind that I've made up is that this was probably a band that played a lot of the honky-tonks, and they needed to have something recorded.
Yeah.
So they recorded this song. Maybe they wrote it. Maybe somebody else did. I don't know basically anything about this song. But I went ahead and recorded it, and that's the single because people have got to hear this song.
Well,
so.
I love it. I mean, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, yeah, this is a Texas honky-tonk song. This is great. And kudos to you. I'm looking at it on Spotify right now, and you've got the composer as Rollin' Country. So you've given him credit, regardless of we don't know who that is or anything like that. So we'll put out an APB here to our listeners and viewers. If you know a 1977 band by the name of Rollin' Country that had a song called "Sippin' on a Cool One," we need to know who these people are. Yeah.
I need to know really bad.
I will tell you both. You both know Tom. As soon as he hears this, he's going to be like, challenge accepted.
Yes.
And he is going to go, he will find it for you, Cody.
I would love that. And that's the thing too, is like, there's like, this is the first time I've ever put, any sort of cover on a record. And it's truly one of those things where it's like, this is a song that needs to get heard. Mm-hmm. And if we can find out the source of this thing, let's give the people what they deserve, which is Rollin' Country. Come on.
Do it. Rollin' Country, APB. Everybody out there, if you know anything about them, ask your parents, ask your grandparents, ask your drunk uncle. We need to know who Rollin' Country is. So get on it. We got to connect those dots.
And if somebody has the single, I will buy it.
Okay. All right. Now let's get back to my obvious and dumb question. Because I know you've heard this question 1,000 times, but I've never been able to hear the answer. How on God's green earth do you come up with a band name like Sparkle Carcass for a country honky-tonk band? Because when you say that phrase, I think heavy metal, and I think some of your graphics even kind of come across as heavy metal, and then I play something and I'm like, something's weird. What's going on here? Where in the hell did you come up with Sparkle Carcass?
So, I used to carry before, I really bonded with my cell phone. I used to carry around a little pocket notebook in the front pocket of my jacket. Mm-hmm. And my songwriting style has always been just kind of gathering turns of phrase. And so a lot of that is just being in the headspace, not like I'm writing all the time, but I'm always listening.
Mm-hmm.
And when you live in a place like Chicago and you go to all these different places, there's so many people coming in and going and stuff. And I'm pretty sure it was on kind of like a crappy, like sleet, cold Chicago fall day. And I stopped into this donut shop to get a cup of coffee, and it was in kind of like a nicer neighborhood, I think. And there was this woman was crouched down, talking to her child in the stroller. And, you know, as people do the goo-goo talk thing, just making noises. And I'm over here kind of like thinking about whatever and like waiting for this paper cup of coffee to come out. And I'm like, did she just say Sparkle Carcass? And I'm like, okay. And I opened that notepad, I pulled it out, and I put the thing off of it, get the little pen out, and I wrote Sparkle Carcass and the Acid Cowboys in that notepad, which nice. I don't know where that notepad is now. But I wrote that down, and I was like, that'd be like some really cool, like stoner, like country band thing. And of course, you know, immediately I'm like, okay, and the Acid Cowboys, way too much. But what's really funny is I also play my wife, Reilly Downes. She's also in Sparkle Carcass. Yep. I play in her band as well, and her backing band is now called the Acid Cowboys.
Very nice.
And I told her, you know, you could use that band name for your backing band as soon as I'm in the band. Because she hired Aaron Vinsel, who's also in Sparkle Carcass, to be her drummer. And I was like, okay, as soon as I'm in the band with Aaron and you, we can call us the Acid Cowboys.
Very nice.
And the last show before I joined the band, we were at Carol's Pub. Riley I think she had a single or a record or something had come out that she was celebrating. And I hear her on the mic say, and debuting the Acid Cowboys. And I was like,
yes,
you didn't wait. But then I'm now in the band, so it's fine. So not only did I get Sparkle Carcass, but I got both of those.
Very nice.
From that one situation.
Well done.
And it's been paying dividends, you know.
That's wonderful. I wonder if the mom who was leaning into her stroller talking to her child is going to hear this, and she's going to be like, you know, wait a second. I deserve some royalties here.
I'm sure she remembers exactly where she was when I misheard her say that.
Yes, and when you were waiting for your paper cup of coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So that's when Sparkle Carcass and the Acid Cowboys both were born. That is awesome. That's my first time hearing that story. And another thing, Cody, you know, we go back a couple of years now, but I feel like I never learned your origin story. We know you're based in Chicago, but where were you brought up? Where are your roots? How did that place or those places shape you as a person and an artist?
Well, so I was born and raised in Jasper, Indiana, which is down southwestern Indiana. Mm-hmm. I must have been like a 30-minute drive from Kentucky, and maybe like a 45-minute drive from Illinois. So like way down in there. In my mom's side, those grandparents lived in Western Kentucky. So I'd spend a lot of time in the summers, especially in Western Kentucky, all the holidays. When I got big enough that I could sling a bale of hay, that's what I would do. And I'd get hay fever, and it'd be hilarious.
Oh.
But just being around, like I grew up in a small town, not rural necessarily, but definitely a small town. But I spent a lot of time in these rural areas. Mm-hmm. Like the closest shopping mall, I think, was Evansville, Indiana. And that's where we would drive like an hour, I think, to go do our like back to school shopping and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm living in this small town. And if you've ever been to Southern Indiana, you know, it's just like hills and trees everywhere. And it's such a funny place to like never see the horizon. It's always trees. And when in high school, like I'd sneak up to the top of this fire tower in the Ferdinand National Forest, and it's like in The Hobbit, there's this scene where he like Bilbo climbs the tree and he like looks out and all he sees is trees. And that's what being on top of a fire tower in southern Indiana is like. It's just you see water towers and you see trees. And then and you know it's Santa Claus, Indiana over there because you can see that one roller coaster.
Yeah.
Now there's more roller coasters there now, but at the time it was like maybe a water slide and a roller coaster. Yeah. But so that's like the environment I grew up in. And my mom is a pianist, and she's one of those people that I love my mom to death. She has this mind on her that is so funny to me because she and my grandma both can just count cards like without even thinking about it. And my mom is this pianist that you put like a hymnal in front of her and she can just play whatever. And so growing up, you know, my family is Baptist. So we're Southern Baptist, but we'll go to the First Baptist church because that's all there is. And it's just down the street from the house.
There you go.
So we'd walk to church on Sunday. She'd play piano. I'd sit in the second pew. And that was my first start, you know, and, you know, my dad was a huge Garth Brooks fan growing up. But when you're in a small town like that, you hear what's on the radio, which is in southern Indiana, it was like 7 country stations.
Yeah.
So you hear like everything.
Yeah.
Everything like I'd say like 87 through like 95 country music was just played until like 2005, just endlessly. And so I have that, and I have this church Baptist thing. And then you have the people sleep on this stuff. Like Disney's Robin Hood. Like I'm like 4 or 5 years old and I hear like country music on that soundtrack. And not to forget other things besides country music, I hear the Vince Guaraldi trio on all those Snoopy cartoons playing this amazing jazz.
Yeah.
And it's like I have a mixture of these things. I go when I'm vaguely old enough, my mom drops me off at the skate rink, the Skate Palace.
Yes. And
they're playing jock jams and jock rock cassettes on the sound system. So I was listening to like Louie Louie and the Jackson 5 and Aretha Franklin, and then like Quad City DJs and like, you know, like, or like Pump Up the Jam and Queen and all this, like all these stadium bangers like on cassette. So this is kind of like the soup that was like my foundation. And I remember I had this Crayola Walkman, and when I was still young enough where I wasn't quite in school yet, I remember going to the garden center and just like dancing to Jackson 5 and singing out loud with my headphones on. And my mom was like, "Stop that. Everyone can hear you."
Nice. I can see little Cody rocking out with the Crayola Walkman.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So how does all that come together to form Chicago dive bar country? Because, you know, there's some dive bar type bands that fall into that 80s, 90s country mix, but that you didn't call anything out and say, "Oh, I listened to was Mickey Gilley and Charlie Daniels band for 10 years," you know. So how does that come? Those are strange bedfellows. So I'm thinking whatever happened to make that happen has to like reek of old style.
Well, I'm more of a Schlitz man myself, but I mean, I got so growing up, I played piano, and then I picked up because my mom, obviously, and then I was like, I'm gonna get away from her. I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna play the violin, and I did for a while, several years, and then she was like, "I'm gonna do that too," and I was like, "Okay," and then she got better than me after several more years. I was like, "Okay, I got to do something different." So I started playing the drums. I got into middle school. I started playing the drums. She did not follow me into the drums. So when I get to college, I went to school at Purdue University in Indiana. And when I was there, I immediately was like, "Okay, rock and roll bands, let's go." And so I think like like the Black Keys were a big thing at the time. So the first band I did was with this guy John Dvorak. We did like a blues rock thing, and we just play like keggers on the roofs of like different places. There's this, So that lasted for however long it did, and then I got asked to be in this band, Dirty Rotten Sunshine.
Good name.
Yeah, and that was very much like, I think that first year, so that same rooftop we'd play on was this place called Vaughn's. And it was just kind of like a weirdo shop where they'd sell all kinds of stuff, including records. And I went in there one day, and I'm not a songwriter yet. I don't even know how to play the guitar. I'm just a drummer, music fan. And I found this CD, and it was like the Nirvana of country. If Nirvana made country music, this sticker on the CD, and it was Whiskey Town.
Yeah, there you go.
And I was like, okay, this is pretty. I got it for my dad. I didn't even listen to it. I bought it for my dad for Christmas or something. And I'm pretty sure it was that same trip I went home, and my mom was sick in bed. And I went in there to just like lay down on the bed next to her just to keep her company. And Austin City Limits was on. And Wilco was playing Sky Blue Sky. So I'm like, okay, like I've always kind of liked this country music stuff. There was a time when I was in high school where I was like, man, this just really ain't it, because you're hearing all this stuff on the radio.
Yeah,
and there's some cool stuff, but all the guys I'm getting in fights with at school, driving big old pickup trucks trying to kick my ass, are listening to this music, and that's the soundtrack of the fight.
Yeah.
So not like, but I'm still listening to CCR. I'm still listening to like the Clash and stuff. Yeah. And then I get to college, and I find, okay, so here's Wilco, and then I listened to that Whiskey Town record, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah. And all of a sudden, that's what I want to do.
Sure.
I'm like barely 19, and I'm like, I've had this full circle back to like, oh, alt country. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And
which
so
Whiskey Town album? Do you remember?
It was the blue one, the last one they did before they split up, and he went solo.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was like Nashville City Lights or something, or Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. Because like the first record was really good too. I obviously went and listened to that later, but that blue one with like the stars on it, and it had that sticker on the plastic that was like if Nirvana made country music or something like that.
It's
I never saw that.
Pneumonia.
The album. That's it. And that's such a good record.
It had Jacksonville Skyline on it.
That's it.
That's
Jacksonville
what it is.
Skyline. Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah, I did not prepare any of this. This is just super off the cuff. But it's funny because that Dirty Rotten Sunshine, that band that I was playing the drums in, we're playing all these like basement shows, and we're playing with all these bands that would get famous and play when Letterman still existed. We'd play with them in a basement, and then like a couple weeks later they'd be on Letterman or something. We play with like, but we're down there and we're playing all this stuff, and I'm like, I mean, I'm a drummer. I can't make this country music, but the guy that was writing the songs, Brian O'Malley, he also liked Wilco and Whiskey Town and all this stuff, but he also liked Pavement, and we both liked the Replacements and Bruce Springsteen, and then he went more like as the band was kind of disintegrating after a few years, he was going more like the Smiths, which I also appreciated, but I was like, no, like I want to do something the other direction.
Nice. Wow.
But that's, yeah.
Well, it doesn't surprise me at all to hear that, at least the time that you were, sort of coming into your own as a musician and discovering all this, that you were a byproduct of the alt country movement, because that certainly sounds like your music now sounds like, yeah, there's some tie in there. There's a little bit more Texas honky-tonk in you guys than I would say alt country, but at the same time, it's all sort of, it's a nice weave. It's a nice mix. It's good stuff. With that, let's take a break. And because everybody's now inspired to go have an old style or a Schlitz, maybe get more bourbon, who knows? But since we're talking about Chicago, let's go to break with Windy City from Sparkle Carcass. When we come back, we'll talk a bit more with Cody about the new album and upcoming shows. Stay tuned. This is Roots Music Rambler.
Your hand, darling. I wanna hold it through the years, through the breezing night and tears as they shine.
Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. There's Reckless Rita from Sparkle Carcass off their 2023 self-titled album. We're here talking with Cody Palmer from the band. Their new album, Maraschino Chevy, is set to be released on October 17th. So, Cody, what can you tell us about your songwriting process, as well as the journey to making this record and getting ready to go out and distribute it to the masses?
So, okay, songwriting process. I mean, I kind of alluded to this when we were talking about the name of the band. Yeah, I used to just keep this notebook in my pocket and I would write down turns of phrase. Because my thing is, if I can come up with a funny turn of phrase or something interesting, and then I can somehow write a melody for a verse and a chorus, and then I can play the guitar over that. Now that I stopped using the notepad, I got the phone.
Right.
And so I'll just, like, wherever I am, I'll just record a cappella a minute. Yep. And if I can get a minute in the phone in one shot, then I'm like, okay, cool. And then that goes into the bank, right? And then whenever it's time to sit down and write, or whenever I feel inspired, that's the well I can draw from.
Nice.
So sometimes I'll just spontaneity happens, and I just something happens. As an example, there's the opening track on the new record, Texarkana Moonlight. My wife, Reilly Downes, and I, we were driving back from Texas. I think it must have been 3 years ago, maybe. We're driving back through, we're about to hit the border. It's middle of the night, big old moon. And I was just like, man, that Texarkana Moonlight. And I'm like, that's a song title. Okay. And then Reilly immediately was like, I'm going to write that song. And I'm like, you are, huh? That's a really good song title though. I don't know. And then we get back home and it's been probably a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I walk in the house, Reilly's in here, and I'm like, I'm going to write that. I want that title. I'm going to write that song. And she's like, what? That's such a good, I was going to write that song. And I'm like, well, I'm going to write that song. And so I sat down at the coffee table with a yellow engineer pad. And in about 15 minutes, I had written all the lyrics and I had the whole like arrangement, and like, I don't know how to play the pedal steel, but I could, or bass very well, really. But I play most things a little bit. And so I would just, when we went to rehearsal, that next week, I just like kind of sang what I wanted each part to do to each player. And I don't always write all the parts. I definitely didn't actually write those parts, but that was like a full, like, everything that's here, like, it just like, yeah. So that's a couple of things that I do. Sometimes I do the Beatles thing where you just kind of like sing a melody with no lyrics and just try to make something. Sometimes I sit for hours and nothing comes out. And I tell the story live sometimes. I just like, I get frustrated. And so there's like a famous Teddy Roosevelt quote, like, when you get sad, it's like, get action. And so get action to me is go take a walk and then get kind of drunk and get kind of high. And then just, and so
whatever
sometimes,
comes out.
sometimes that will plop out a whole song.
Yeah.
And there's at least one song on this new record that I did that, where it's just like, let's go. So I use, it's one of those things, like, you can ask, like, how do you write a song? And there are, I think like, if you ask like Paul McCartney that question, I've like, cause if you look up songwriting, sometimes you'll see Paul McCartney quotes about this stuff. And it's really, you have to figure it out.
Yeah. No
one can tell you how to do it. You just have to figure it out. And that's why it's so easy to be like, man, I'm never going to write a song ever again. Like, I've lost it. Yeah. I've lost it. And then you just find yourself in the right moment and you'll write one song, or maybe you'll write 3, or who knows,
Just for the record, before we go any further, I think we have to throw out a legal disclaimer. Teddy Roosevelt did not tell people to go get drunk and get high and write music.
No.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Teddy. Wait, so Cody, is it the song where, I don't remember the title, but you said something about eating some edibles? Is that the song that came out? Okay.
Yeah, that was literally, that was that. I just, I was like, you know what? I haven't written a complaining song yet. So this song is, I'm just going to complain about a bunch of stuff. And because of like the state I was in, like the lyrics came out super easy, of course. But then like getting the melody right and getting the chorus right, that all happened in that moment.
Nice.
It's one of those, again, one of those things where it's like, it takes like 3 hours to get nowhere. And then 15 minutes, to just like have a whole song. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm bringing that to rehearsal with the band, and then that's the song. So
there it is. It's on the album.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to listen to the album, and I've listened to it a couple times. So thank you, in advance of the release. So I have a couple of favorites. And aside from the edible song, the other one that I want to talk about is Caldwell County, because it warms my heart so much that your mom plays piano on this track. So you already talked about your mom being a pianist, and, it makes sense, right? And I just think it's so incredibly sweet. What was it like working with your mom on the song?
It's kind of funny because I do love my mom very much. And I feel like a lot of my time being her student coming up, it felt kind of adversarial in a lot of ways. It was like, she'd be in the other room, cooking, and I'd be in the front room playing the piano, trying to practice, and she'd yell from the other room, "You're playing that wrong."
Oh gosh.
and I'm like, "Mom, like let me learn." And she's like, "No, if you're practicing it wrong, you're going to learn it wrong." So it was very much this like, I don't know if she remembers doing this, or she might listen to this. I don't know, but it's just so funny, like, because we had this kind of thing, this headbutting that would happen.
Okay.
But she always would she always loved playing music, and she and I really bonded over that, because everybody in my family plays an instrument. Or they did in marching band, or they did in something or other. But my mom and I were really the two that it's like, people say like, don't you just love playing music? And I do, but it's more so a bodily function that I can't not do it.
Okay.
Like I would be depressed. Like I would be very depressed, and I don't know what I would do with myself. It's very much a thing that I was always gonna do, and she's like that too. And so she plays in church every Sunday, and because she's so good at what she does, and she's such a good sight reader, that if someone's trying to do an ensemble performance and they need a piano player to like back up a soloist or something, for the most complicated stuff they call her.
Oh.
And she always said, it's so great playing this stuff, but I wish I could have written something.
Interesting.
And so that always stuck in my mind to just do the thing. So
yeah,
she didn't show by example writing songs necessarily, but I wanted to do that thing. And so I've kind of said to some friends before, and I think my mom maybe once, that like the way Joni Mitchell arpeggiates her chords on that Blue record, to me very much sounds like how my mom arpeggiates when she's playing. Her right hand, I think. And so hearing that, and when I wrote this song, when I wrote Caldwell, it was the only song I wrote during the pandemic.
Okay.
I was having I lived alone at the time in a 1-bedroom garden unit. And the pandemic started, and then all of a sudden there was just no cars on the street, no people anywhere. But I live by the Chicago River, so I'd go over there and take walks, and I drink a little bit too much, kind of every single day. But who didn't?
Truly. What else was there to do?
But then the spring come around, and there was a lot of the protesting was happening. Downtown, and the mayor lifted the drawbridges, which never happens, to basically trap all the protesters downtown. And there was a lot of fear about what's going to happen. And obviously, a lot of protesters were getting hit with rubber bullets and things. And it was just a really tough time. And you feel isolated because of the pandemic and because of the living situation and all this stuff happening. And my mom called, and we talked for like a half hour about just all this stuff that was going on. And she was like, my parents are both, fairly conservative. And my mom was just very curious. Like, so I see the protests are happening. I'm just, why are people so angry? And like, I just want to know, like, I'm really curious. And so she and I talked about some real stuff for not even for like an hour. It was like a half hour. Yeah. And it was such an important thing. And then that night I wrote 4.5 minutes. And I write a minute. That's what I write. I write a minute and then I extrapolate, right? But
and
I wrote
it works.
I wrote 4.5 minutes, and I recorded it, and I put it away. No one ever heard it. And then I got that song out at a rehearsal, and I was like, let's just see what we could do with this. And I want to do like a soul thing with it. I want to do like a dark end of the street. Like I want to blow this thing out. And then also like Joe Cocker and and like Van Morrison. Like I want to do this thing. And so we kind of blew it out, and it turned into like 8.5 minutes or something really long, which is like, okay. And so all of these different disparate pieces here to basically be like, when we're going to go record it, I'm like, my mom inspired this song so much, but then like also her specific piano style, I wanted to record. And I also wanted to record her because she needs to be recorded, because I don't think she's ever recorded anything before.
Aww.
So kind of all these things were lining up, and it was like leading up to the overdub day when we recorded her. And I could tell she was really nervous, but also really excited. And she's like, can you give me some notes or like anything? And I'm like, Mom, no, you approach it the way that you would approach it, because I already know what you're going to do, and it's the right thing. And so that day, my dad came up too, and he sat on this couch, and I did a couple of vocal takes that day. And my mom, yeah, she just sat there at this, I think it was like a Yamaha grand piano or something. And yeah, she just played the parts and knocked them out in like 1 or 2 takes. And that's what's on the record. So
go mom.
It's lovely. It really is. It really is. I really enjoyed that. And then Julie plays on that track as well, right? Julie Nichols.
Yeah. I met her through playing with Nathan Graham when I was in his band. And yeah, she's incredible player. And yeah, she ripped the organ part on that song as well.
Very cool.
And yeah, love to have her on the record too.
Yeah. She's great. I love seeing her live. So when the album does come out, you all hear Caldwell County, all of this information is kind of going to come back to you. And I think it'll really enhance the experience knowing all of that backstory.
Yeah.
Because it really is. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So I want to go from your mom to at least one of the other women in your life, your wife, Reilly. You mentioned you're in her band too. I'm curious, how do you balance the commitment to one band versus the other, the ideas, the songs, which one gets priority and so on? Because I would imagine that's a very unique and unusual set of stressors on a relationship.
Yeah, it's hilarious actually, because you would think it'd be really difficult, right? But it is difficult, but it's not at the same time. It's both. They're in parallel, right?
Okay.
So I'm super lucky because we from the beginning that we ever met, we have been incredibly transparent and upfront and get everything on the table type of relationship. And what's really cool is because Sparkle Carcass is it's very much a band. And yet, like, I kind of write everything, and I kind of do all I either do the designs or I hire somebody to do the designs or whatever. And so Sparkle Carcass is very much like I write the stuff, and then I have this beautiful, amazing band that plays with me. And Reilly, the same way, she writes her stuff, and like that's the thing, And so what's great about it is that they're so compartmental that it's like, this is how this happens, and we've tried to collaborate, and in some cases with her songs, I'm able to it's very much her song, but I can help her like frame things a certain way. Mm-hmm. It's less like I'm writing and I'm like a co-producer.
There you go. Okay.
To a degree. But what's really cool is we have this agreement where we're not going to ever tour both bands at the same time.
That's smart.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Because we have like the two of us, and then Aaron Vinsel, our drummer. He was my best friend first, I gotta say, and then she's like, "No, he's my best friend." And I'm like, "Okay, we all have best friends now." So. And then and Aaron's wife Katie is also a very close friend of ours, so the four of us kind of do a lot of stuff all the time. But what's really cool is we always have these three of us in both bands, and then in her band it's Alex Piazza on bass, in Sparkle Carcass it's Justin Frederick, and we have like kind of rotating different lead players and stuff. But it's cool because we kind of do this thing where we're always kind of playing together. We're literally always playing together. But when we tour, we like to keep the focus on one or the other.
Right.
And whoever's band is playing, they're the star. Yeah. And we to mixed results, but we made this decision where, okay, this year is this band's year. This is the focus, and then next year is the other band's focus. And both bands still do stuff, obviously, but it's like, okay, this year is my year to go to South by Southwest.
Gotcha.
And the other band books around that. Whereas this year, or this coming year, we're going to go down there. It'll be Reilly's year. And then I'll be the one sneaking off with the band It's me sneaking off, but I'm also taking the band with me.
Yeah.
And we'll go play like the Sagebrush or some honky-tonk in the hill country or something
Nice.
between Reilly's stuff. So
Cool.
it's a funny situation, but we make it work, and we're like bonded at the hip a lot of the time, for better or for worse. Sure. But in my opinion, for the better. And I think we're really lucky to have this relationship that we have.
Very cool. Very cool.
And as someone who knows both of you and has seen both bands, separately, I feel like it doesn't seem like there's any sort of like tension or anything like that. I think given the situation, you guys are handling it very, very well. So I am grateful that both bands exist because I enjoy both. So earlier, or in our intro, before we started chatting with you, I mentioned that soon Sparkle Carcass is going to be hitting the road. So you've got some tour dates lined up. So where are y'all headed?
So we're heading out, I think on October 2nd. Yeah, October 2nd. And we're going to be going down, we're doing Kansas City. And on the way back up, we're doing Tulsa.
Oh, nice.
But we're basically, our goal is to go to Texas and just play a whole bunch.
Okay.
I have this really hilarious thing that I do where I always play Austin during a major music festival. So this time on accident, it just worked out that we're down there for Austin City Limits Fest, which we're not actually playing because I never submit for these things in time. That's me. I'm a really good business person, So we're gonna play like Pootie's in Spicewood, Texas, in the Hill Country. We'll play Lonesome Rose in San Antonio, Dan Electro's in Houston, probably some other places too.
Okay,
I would
all
imagine.
right. So a bunch in Texas.
Yeah, basically just stuff south of Waco.
Nice.
So yeah, it'll be our, I think, third time down there.
Okay.
But Reilly's grandfather lives in South Austin.
Okay.
So it's also a great excuse to go visit him.
Of course.
That's very helpful. Good stuff. Well, where, if people want to know where all you're going to be specifically, where can they go on them their interwebs to find out more about the Sparkle Carcasses? So
you can check us out at sparklecarcass.com. I try to update that when I can. We're also, the only social media that we really use is Instagram, which is at Sparkle Carcass. And then you can listen to the tunes on your favorite streaming service or on YouTube.
Very good. Well, Cody, we're extremely excited for the album. We'll make sure that there's links to all that good stuff included in the show notes. Hopefully I'll be swinging through Louisville soon. I still have not seen you live and would love to do that, of course. I know Frank gets to see you guys live all the time, but really appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with us and filling us in on all the sparkles and all the carcasses.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, the Pick and the Grinning segment's coming up next, but let's go out with Point of View from the 2023 Sparkle Carcass album. This is Roots Music Rambler. Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. I cannot wait to see Sparkle Carcass play live. And I really,
they're so much fun.
They are. And this Sipping on a Cool One, the cover song that we played at the top, it's a really good song. So, I mean, he obviously heard something in that 1977 recording played off a 45 on some random radio show that his friend did by Rollin' Country. And I do want to help. I mean, I really and truly want us to figure out who Rollin' Country is and connect him with them. I just think that would be a fun task. So get Tom on that.
Tom, yes, he will be on the case. And, you know, it kind of reminds me of the plea I put out a few episodes back with Lick the Marmot.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Yeah, we got to find the Lick the Marmot people.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't believe I'm saying
Lick the
that
Marmot
again,
and Rollin' Country.
Lick the Marmot, separate from Rollin' Country. Those are two different things, but we need help tracking these people down, whoever they are. If you know them, we're looking for them.
Yes.
And it's all good.
Thank you.
It's nothing bad. We're just,
just want to shake their hands or something.
We do. We want to bring light to their as of yet unlit careers, or not well lit careers. How about that? That's what we're all about here. Anyway, it's time for our Picking the Grinning segment. Besides Lick the Marmot and Rollin' Country, we've got other good new music that you can listen to. It's when Frank and I pick the music that's been making us grin. It might be a song, might be an artist, might be an album, but something that we've been listening to lately that we like that we're recommending to you. So, Frank, will you do us the honors of going first?
I would love to. Cool. Okay, so my pick for this episode is a duo that I caught. Well, not caught, but anyway. So from when we're recording this, it was a week ago. We saw Mr. Gabe Lee, a friend of the show. He performed here in Chicago. So of course, Tom and I went, and the show was so good. I think I even said on a previous episode, like my face hurt at the end of the night because I was smiling the whole time. You know, Gabe is just great, and he's a great storyteller. He's funny as hell. But anyway, he had with him his two bandmates, Luciana Costa and Rachel Coates, and they have their own band called King Margot. And like on the bill, it's, said Gabe Lee with King Margot, and I didn't expect King Margot to be in Gabe Lee's band. So when Gabe just came out and started playing, we were so confused. We're like, well, who's King Margot? Like, what's happening? And then they explain the sitch. So Luciana plays dobro. She plays the what you call it, the box, the drum that you sit on.
The cajon.
Yeah. Okay. And Rachel plays mandolin and bass. So it was really good to hear them backing Gabe. 'Cause every time I saw Gabe Lee before that, it was just him. So Gabe turned it over and let the girls play a couple of their songs. And oh my God, so good, so funny. The second song that they played is called I Can't Lose You, or I Can't Have You and I Can't Lose You. It's the Gum song, and I may have got that title all wrong, but just look it up and you'll find it. It is hysterical, and it was in my head for like days after that. And then Luciana goes and says that, she's originally from Michigan, and with a name like Luciana Costa, I'm like, she's one of my people. So, I made sure to talk to her after the show. And she's so sweet, and, she was great to talk to, and she and Rachel is hysterical too. So, their music is really good though. Their voices are amazing. And Rachel on the mandolin is outstanding. And Luciana on the dobro, like, I want to be her when I grow up. So definitely check out King Margot.
Okay. And the name of the song is Can't Have You, Can't Lose You, in parentheses, the Gum song. So you had
Okay, so I was kind of right.
You had it right. Yeah. It's the number one song listed as I'm looking at their Spotify page. They also
I'm not surprised.
They have one called Dishes Ain't Done that's got 100 and some odd thousand streams. So, there's legit stuff out there. So
yeah, that's a good song too. Of course we got their merch.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, good. I'm glad. All right, so King Margot is the Picking the Grinning selection for Frank. I'm going to throw down with another Kentucky artist, no surprise, but I spend so much time with Appalachian artists because I feature them on my radio show now on Appalachian Echoes. And I'm just feel so fortunate to be discovering artists that are close in proximity that are also very, very good. And one that I came across recently, I came across for a couple different reasons, but he dropped a new single called Golden Hour. His name is Lance Rogers. He's got a new single called Golden Hour. He's been a recording artist for several years. He's got several albums and singles out there. He's a singer-songwriter from here in the Bluegrass State in Kentucky. And he's toured around and been featured on, with a lot of other acts out there. So he's a known guy in the industry. But Golden Hour is a really good song, and I wanted to recommend him as an artist and Golden Hour, his new single, as a song. And then I wanted to share a little story about him. He, a couple of days after Golden Hour was released, he posted a screenshot on Facebook of the artist's view of how many streams the song had garnered. And it was 2 or 3 days after it was released, and I had already listened to it a couple times. But he only had about 320 some odd streams, and he was voicing his frustration that, what does an artist have to do to get people to pay attention to good music? And Bill Taylor, friend of the show from Bill Taylor and the Appalachian Heathens, who obviously knows Lance, jumped in and shared his statistics from his new single, Old Man, which had been out for about a month. And I think it had like 2,700, which is not a lot for someone who was just on a show with, 10, 15, 20 million people watching it.
Right.
And so only 2,700 people have listened to this single. So I just kind of used that moment, and I commented on the stream and sort of introduced myself to Lance because I had heard his music and heard of him, but I hadn't connected with him. And so I'm going to connect with him and talk to him, and we may have him on the show on a future episode, of course. But I said, this is why I exist. And this is why I think our show, we exist in the music space, is because I think we both love nothing more than discovering a good artist and sharing them with other people. That's exactly what this segment of the show is about. It's exactly why we interview artists like Gabe Lee, who has been around, and some people know him, but not everybody does. And so our show digs a little deeper into the lives of these artists and where they're from and their music so that the fans can get to know them better, so that they'll go to the streaming services and they'll play their songs more, and they'll buy an album, or they'll buy some merch, or they'll go support them at a live show. Because the more we are able to do that with these individual artists, the more motivation they have to keep creating great songs that we like to listen to. And so that exchange with Lance Rogers kind of clarified my musical purpose, because I have no talent. I can't write music. I can write lyrics, and I do that every now and then, but I certainly don't have an avenue to get them to anybody who could use them, really, with a few exceptions. But as a podcast co-host here, and then as a radio show host on Appalachian Echoes, and then as a fill-in from time to time on WFPK on Roots and Boots and whatnot, I feel like I now have a clear mission. It's elevate artists who are not being seen, even though they should be, so that we can help fan those flames and keep people's attentions on the ones that need it the most. It's not enough to just sit around and talk about Sturgill Simpson and Tyler Childers and Sierra Farrell. It's let's go find people who have the potential to be the next versions of them and make sure that people are paying attention to that music too. Because I can tell you right now, 2,700 streams for Bill Taylor ain't paying the bills. Spotify pays crap. They pay fractions of pennies for thousands of streams. And so if you add up every streaming service altogether, his new single, Old Man, probably's paid him about $7 or $8, which is terrible, right? He sells an album, that's a little different. He has the only way these artists make money is when they go out and play live shows.
Right.
They get on the road.
And people buy their merch.
Right. People buy their merch and they play live shows, and people maybe buy their albums or their CDs directly from them as opposed to a record store or something like that. That's the only way they can make any money. And it takes an army, a community of people out there, like the community of our listeners, plus all the other listeners of all the other little podcasts out there doing this, to actually make an artist, put them in a position where they can have a sustainable living as a professional musician. And so my mission in this world is now more clear because of Lance Rogers sharing that. Even though I had already heard the song, I was probably already going to recommend him, but it's like I owe him a debt of gratitude, because now I was doing all this because I loved it and I had fun. And yes, I was doing it because I like elevating artists, but the clarity of why I'm here is now there for me. And so, Lance, I owe you one for that. And by the way, I'm not just recommending some singer-songwriter guy. Lance is actually one of the originators and kind of runs an effort called For the Love of Appalachia. And Frank, you'll love this. For the Love of Appalachia's purpose is to connect Appalachian artists to touring Britain, the United Kingdom.
Oh.
So he and a couple of others went over last year, I think it was, and had a great time touring all these places that are fascinated with country Americana sounds and Appalachian music, bluegrass, hillbilly music, whatever. And it's a growing sort of population there in the UK. In fact, we've got a future guest coming on who works in the UK and focuses on Americana and country music, who's going to talk to us about that. But he went over and did that trip. And so now I know Cody Meese and Joe, for some reason I'm blanking on Joe's last name, they just got back from their tour of the United Kingdom, which was organized by For the Love of Appalachia. So we'll make sure there's links to For the Love of Appalachia in the show notes, so you can go check that out. They have a GoFundMe to raise money to send people over there, because it's certainly not cheap to do that. And so we would love for people to support that as well. So Lance is out there doing it for other artists, and so I feel really good about doing it for him too. So go check out Lance Rogers. We'll make links to the Spotify's there. The new single's called Golden Hour, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I know I do. I've played it, several times today even. So that's my pick and the grinning. There you go.
Very nice. That's very cool.
Yeah. So, and I'm just really, I'm glad I now have a little bit more clarity. The purpose was there for me. Yeah. I couldn't articulate it. Now I can articulate it. Say, I'm here to elevate artists that aren't getting seen by others the way they should be. And that's why I'm here. And I will be happy with that purpose, because I feel like that's noble, and I feel like it's going to make the music industry and fans having access to good music better. So,
and who'd have thunk it when we started this little podcast that it would turn out to be like your purpose, your mission,
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to Can I Take My Hounds to Heaven on the shitter and said, hey, I'd like to talk about this with Francesca on a podcast.
And look at us now, 50-some episodes in.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I need to go to the bathroom, so we need to wrap this up. Roots Music Rambler is a production of Falls and Partners, copyright 2025. Our theme music is Sheepskin and Beeswax by Genta Corum. Join us online at rootsmusicrambler.com or our YouTube channel. We're all video now, so you can go to YouTube and look for Roots Music Rambler. And make sure you mash that subscribe or follow button so you remember to join us for the next Hoe Down and Throwdown. She's Frank.
And he's Falls.
And whatever you do, kids, ramble on.